Ali, 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 yeah. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7.
Islam, 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 Moorish America. Want to rise upon the 7 within the circle of justice, mercy, love, and right, and give all praises to the great God, Allah, Father God, Allah, and honors to His holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal. We give honors to our Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution and bylaws, and honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification of everything that our Holy Prophet brought to make us a nation. But let us come forth with our ancient committee and adept Moorish American prayer. And as we come forth, we ask that you open up your hearts and minds as our beloved brother Marvin Nathaniel Edwards Bay, Consul General of Texas Territory, opens up the way. Islam.
Islam family, rise and giving all praise to the great God Allah. Oh yeah, I'm Dr. Marvin Edwards Bay out of the Texas Territory. Rise and giving all praise to the great God Allah, giving highest honors to His prophet, our prophet Noble Drew Ali, El-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali. Give high honors to our theocratic government, our Moorish American government. Give high honors to our Act 1. Give high honors to all of our officials. I give high honors to this class, our E.A.R.S class, our Egyptian ADEPTUS Research Sultanate class, as well as I give honors to our host and instructor, Dr. Sheru METU Al-Muhajir, our National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Moorish America. I give honors to everything that is Moorish, our flag, our seal, our emblem, our divine constitution, Holy Quran, Book of Ali, our 101, 102s, Exhument of a Nation, all of our divine revelations. Give honor to the ancestors whose shoulders we stand upon, as well as our forerunner of our prophet, Dr. Marcus Musa L. As well as I give honor to all of the members of the panel. I give honor to any of those that's in the audience. And I'll begin by opening our meeting according to law with our Cometian and their prayer and Moorish American prayer. And I'll begin. Ya Allah emnuheru mekneteru. Ya Allah ebheteru. Ya Allah ma'atheru. Ya Allah hoteperu. Ya Allah heru. Ya Allah ma'at herikuti. Ya Allah awadet dejuti. Ya Allah pertem sutek. Pertem heru. Ya Allah bamaduti. El hedisre abtuali. Amen. Hallelujah. 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 In transliteration, O Allah, the Father of the universe, O Allah, the Father of love, Oh, allow the spirit of truth. Oh, allow the spirit of peace. Oh, allow the spirit of freedom. Oh, allow the spirit of justice. Oh, allow you are my protector. Oh, allow you are my guide. Oh, allow you are my salvation by night and by day. Oh, allow through your holy prophet. Oh, allow Drew Ali. Amen. Holy Issa. Holy Issa. Holy Issa. And now we'll begin reading our divine constitution of Morse America. Salvation, our God, unity. The divine constitution of Morse America, Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the chairman of Morse America are empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the prophet and the grand body of Morse America. The assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known for the citizens of Morse America. The bylaws, Act 2. All meetings are to be opened and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7, and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh, and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is a holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all citizens of Morse America. No citizen is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All citizens must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Morse American, you are a part and a parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. No organizations of Morse America is to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all citizens must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and a parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slave holders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali the prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Morse Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All citizens must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a parcel of all uplifting acts of Morse America. Okay. Morse Americans must pay their dues and keep in line with all the necessities of Morse America. And then you are entitled to the name of faithful husband. You must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after your duties of the household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Morse Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God Allah. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, peace and blessing be upon him, found in Father and frame of the divine constitution and bylaws of Morse America. Now this meeting has been opened according to Act 2, according to Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And now we'll hand the meeting over to our goddess and queen, our National Assistant Grand Secretary of State, Dr. Dendra Ani Akurta Bey. Islam?
Islam. I am Dr. Dendra Ani Akurta Bey, National Assistant Grand Secretary. First, let me rise and give praises to our great God Allah. I give honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I give honors to Act 1. I give honors to all my government officials. I give honors to our instructor, our National Assistant Grand Sheik, Dr. Pseudo-HIEROGLYPHS Sepsuel. I give honors to our Counsel General, Dr. Marvin Edwards Bey, Counsel General of Texas. And at this time, I will be reading our chapter of the week, chapter 65. Holy instructions from the prophet, the insufficiency of knowledge. And it reads, if there is anything lovely, if there is anything desirable, if there is anything within the reach of man that is worthy of praise, is it not knowledge? And yet, who is it that attaineth it? The statesman proclaimed that he have it. The ruler of the people claimed the praise of it, but findeth the subject that he possesses it. Even evil is not requisite to man, neither can vice be necessary to be tolerated. Yet how many evils are permitted by the connivance of the laws? How many crimes committed by the decree of the council? But be wise, O ruler, and learn, O thou that art to command the nations. One crime authorized by thee is worse than the escape of 10 from punishment. When the people are numerous, when thy son increase about thy table, sendest thou them not out to slay the innocent, and to fall before the sword of him whom they have not offended? If the object of thy desire, demanding the lives of 1,000, saith thou not, I will have it, surely thou forgettest that he who created thee created also these, and that their blood is as rich as thine. Sayest thou that justice cannot be executed without wrong? Surely thine own words condemn thee. Thou who flattereth with false hopes the criminal, that he may confess his guilt, art not thou unto him a criminal? Or art thou guiltless because he cannot punish it? When thou commandest to the torture him whom is but suspected of ill, darest thou remember that thou mayest rat the innocent? Is thy purpose answered by the event? Is thy soul satisfied with his confession? Pain will enforce him to say what is not as easy as what is, and anguish have caused innocent to accuse herself. That thou mayest not kill him without cause, thou doest worse than kill him. That thou mayest prove if he be guilty, thou destroyest him innocent. O blindness to all truth, O insufficient of the wisdom of the wise, know when thy judge shall bid thee account for this. Thou shalt wish 10,000 guilty to have gone free, rather than one innocent to stand forth against thee. Insufficient as thou art to the maintenance of justice, how shalt thou arrive at the knowledge of truth? How shalt thou ascend to the footstep of her throne? As the owl is blinded by the radiance of the sun, so shall the brightness of her countenance dazzle thee in thy approach. If thou wouldest mount up unto her throne, first bow thyself at her footstool. If thou wouldest arrive at the knowledge of her, first inform thyself of thine own ignorance. More worth is she than pearls, therefore seek her carefully. The emerald and the sapphire and the ruby are as dirt beneath her feet, therefore pursue her manfully. The way to her is labor. Attention is the pilot that must conduct thee into her port. But weary not on the way, for when art arrived at her, the toll shall be to thee for pleasure. Say not unto thyself, behold, truth breedeth hatred, and I will avoid it. Dissimulation raises friends, and I will follow it. Are not the enemies made by truth better than the friends obtained by flattery? Naturally doeth man desire the truth, yet when it is before him, he will not apprehend it, and if it forces itself upon him, he is not offended at it. The fault is not in truth, for this is admirable. but the weakness of man beareth not its splendor. What if thou seest thine insufficiency more plainly? View at thy devotion. To what end was religion instituted, but to teach thee thine infirmities, to remind thee of thy weakness, to show thee that from heaven alone art thou to hope for good? Doth it not remind thee that thou art dust? Do it not tell thee that thou art ashes? And behold, repentance, is it not frailty? When thou givest an oath, when thou swearest thou wilt not deceive, behold, it spreadeth shame upon thy face, and upon the face of him that receiveth it. Learn to be just, and repentance may be forgotten. Learn to be honest, and oaths are unnecessary. The shorter follies are, the better. Say not therefore to thyself, I will not play the fool by halves. He that heareth his own faults with patience shall reprove another with boldness. He that giveth a denial with reason shall suffer a repulse with moderation. If thou art suspected, answer with freedom. Whom shall suspicion affright except the guilty? The tender of heart is turned from his purpose by supplication. The proud is rendered more obstinate by entreaty. The sense of thine insufficient commandeth thee to hear, but to be just thou must hear without thy passion. Islam, Islam, Islam. I would turn everything back over to our National Assistant Grand Chief, our host for this morning, Dr. Pseudo-HIEROGLYPHS Maheja Sepsuel. Are you there, God man?
Islamism. Can you hear me, Goddess and Queen?
Islam, I can hear you well.
Gratitude. Islam, Islam, Islam. Islamism without the schism. Having already risen, we continue to rise in ascension and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to his holy prophet. Honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal. We give honors to our Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution, and bylaws. And honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification of everything that our Holy Prophet brought to make us a nation. I want to welcome you to another Egyptian Adeptus Research Sultanate session. And I'm your host instructor, Dr. Shahid Imani Mohadi Shabazz El. My ancient Comedian high name being the same as Dr. Shedawamenti El Mohajj Shepsuel. And we have a most powerful measure that is being brought forth from our Father's treasures, Moorish kin, this morning. It's a grand program that we had to bring forth before you. And so we can't wait to hear from our Moorish family with everything it is that they have to bring. And we just encourage our family, to most definitely be attentive to this measure, because it's going to be a powerful drawing, dealing with what we have to bring forth. So without further ado or delay, we're going to bring forth our scribes so that they may bring forth their findings in their assignment. So that being said, we're going to open up the way. Islam, scribes. Let's see who's going to step up the back.
Islam.
Sister Bay. All right. Islam.
Islam. I always jump out there. Islam. Well, let me get this ready to present what I got. Let me say share screen. And share. Okay. Let me pull up my little homework. All right. Okay. Let me go down here. Okay. Let me. I know I had to make this bigger for y'all a lot of times so you can see it. Okay. All right. Hope I ain't got that too big. Islam. Can y'all see my assignment? Islam?
Islam. Yeah, we see it. Gratitude.
Gratitude. Islam. Islam family. I am Dr. Dendra Nia Bay. And this is our assignment. Our assignment was to vet the documents herein and describe what you have learned concerning the Hebrew creation of the alphabet from Egyptian pictograms. And what we had, the God man had sent us a lot of great information for us to look at. And in doing so, this is what we were supposed to do, is to vet this, the Hebrew creation of the alphabet from the Egyptian pictorial. And family, this was a challenge for me, because coming from the mindset that where I'm coming from, that's where the challenge came in. But nevertheless, this is what I picked up from the first slide that he sent out. The first thing I saw was a copyright by McCoy Publishing and Masonic Supply Company, 1903. Now, this is just me. This is my mindset. This is where I'm coming from. Now, when I saw Masonic Supply Company, that was a red flag right off the bat for me, because this made me think about Western Freemasonry. And Western Freemasonry and the Illuminatis are the world order deities of Europe. So right off the bat, whatever they say, that lets me know that I got to take that for now. Like I said, this is just me. I'm taking that with a grain of salt, because there's a group of families that's running everything, and that's a whole nother story. I'm not gonna get into that, but that's what I come up with there. And one of the this is a clip from one of the information that the God man had sent out to us, and I'm gonna read this to you. It say Clement of Alexandria, the father of modern Egypt science, says in express terms that touching mysterious things, the symbols of the Egyptians are like unto those of the Hebrews. He says the authority of Clement Alexandria cannot be doubted, for his testimony is the foundation on which Champollion and the Egyptologists erect their system of interpreting Egyptian writing. Clement Alexandria, fortified with Bible reading, could not have produced so extraordinary an assimilation for a Christian and Egyptian without being in possession of proof of the truth of his assertion. In the Bible and the Hebrew only may we seek for an explanation of Egyptian symbols. Whether this interpretation appear true or false, it cannot be affirmed nor denied without proof. In question of this nature, the argument is subordinate to the facts, and to facts alone we appeal. And like I said, family, coming from my mindset, coming from where I'm coming from, my first thought is, and family, I'm gonna say some things that keep your minds open, because I might say some things that you're not used to, but I encourage you to keep your minds open. See, when you're dealing with the Bible, when he said the Bible, what I know about the Bible coming out of Christianity, what I've learned in dealing with the Bible, that I was taught that this was the unadulterated word of God. I was taught that holy men of God wrote this, but I found out that none of that was true. I found out that the Bible was just allegories, short stories, and parables. And it has some truth in it. So I don't take, coming from the King James Version, now I don't take that as the word of God. I do not, because as I continue to grow and study, I found out on my way that these were our teachings. Alexander went down into Egypt and took our teachings and all what he didn't, what he couldn't deal with, he burnt it up and stuff. And then he the one wrote all this stuff. And actually, the Bible is our teachings, but the Greeks have put their take on it. So that when I saw this, like I said, coming from, regardless of what you're saying, but my research, I know that if you depended on the Bible that we have today, the King James Version, if you depended on that for your authority, I don't. That's not my belief. And also in the next shot, I took a picture of this, and she said, this is saying that they say another Jewish Nobel Prize for literature, Nobel Prize to the Jews for inventing the first alphabet. Now, and then she said, it says over here, a collection of 16 previous untranslated ancient inscriptions lay in museums for 100 years, but have now proven that Hebrew is the very first alphabet in Earth history from which all other alphabets, including English, Latin, and Arabic, are derived. Dr. Doug Petrovitz has falsified the theory that Phoenician was the first alphabet, but instead, what Phoenician was derived directly from Hebrew. We know that Moses used this Hebrew alphabet at Sinai in 1446 BC in the written law of Moses. And family, like I say, coming from my mindset, that is not true. And then she said, he said, Canadian researcher Dr. Doug Petrovitz is the first person in history to translate these 16 inscriptions. It all started when he realized they were in ancient Hebrew. Ancient. My definition of ancient goes back to the very beginning. And even in reading the Bible, you can see that this is not true. But anyway, this refutes the previous notion that Phoenician was the first alphabet and proves beyond doubt that Phoenician was derived directly from Hebrew, which is in fact the true Proto-Canaanite alphabet. And I just couldn't go along with that. And they got all kind of that you can click on, trying to prove what they are saying, and there's no truth in that to me, as I examine all the material that I had. And moving right along to this one, I snapshot this because it has some interesting things, and these are the questions that I come up with. It says between 1859 through 1842 BC, Joseph, Ephraim, and Manasseh invented the world's first alphabet shortly after they moved to E.A.R.S, also known as Tel el-Dabba. It says, remember that Joseph was a prophet and God foresaw the need of his chosen people to have an alphabet for the law of Moses God wrote down in 1446 BC at Mount Sinai. Without an alphabet, there would be no law of Moses. And we went over this last Sunday too, but this is where I have an issue with, family. When it says that Joseph, Ephraim, and Manasseh, I pronounce it Manasseh, we might pronounce it different, but that's the way I was brought up saying it. But anyway, nevertheless, Joseph, when I read the story of Joseph, it starts out with Joseph was 17 years old, right? And that's where it starts off in the Bible. Now, if Joseph, if God saw that it was so important, it seemed like to me it would be a whole chapter in there, something that talks about that. Now I know they're gonna try to show you different things on what they come up with, but it's not. I didn't see anything in there. And furthermore, Joseph, when I looked at Joseph's life, his whole life, to me that was a story portraying a spiritual. A spiritual meaning, that you can get a spiritual meaning from that. And when I looked at, they talked about Joseph as, like I say, the life of Joseph. Joseph was Jacob's son, and Joseph, his brothers hated him because Jacob he showed favoritism to Joseph. Joseph was his favorite child. And quite naturally, it made his brothers and things hate him and all this stuff. But the whole story of Joseph, I just find that you can get some good truths, some good spiritual things from it. But I failed to see when reading the Bible, the King James Bible, what I have, I failed to see when did he and his sons, when did they invent the first alphabet? I didn't get that. And then when it talks about his chosen people, now family, that's why I say I look at the Bible different, because I don't believe that that's the unadulterated word of God. I know that the Greeks wrote that, and when it say his chosen people in the Bible that I have, that Bible tell you, it talks about God's chosen people. And my question is, so what about the rest of the people? They not chosen? These are questions that I had when I first started coming into Christianity. And then, like I say, as I travel along, I've learned different. And because even in the King James Version Bible, you have a God that he's jealous. Now, if you God over everything, why would you be jealous? And then he actually he'll remember things that you did. And when my take on that is it sounds more like man wrote that versus the actual God, the actual Most High God. And like I say, we got I didn't have time to put all that together, but we got documentations that the Greeks is the one that wrote the Bible. Even in our chairman in Assembly of a Nation, and you can go to www.motionamericangovernment.land and call headquarters and get you that book. Our chairman got a whole slew of information on there about who wrote the Bible and things of this nature. And then even talking about that, like I mentioned at first, talking about the Illuminati, he got a lot of stuff in there. So I encourage you to get that book. And it will really help you and get out of this thing. Just you're gonna have to go outside the Bible to if you really want to know the truth. Because a lot of people don't like to use other material. You're gonna have to use other material if you're gonna find out the truth and study other materials. And it says Nothing that happened in history occurred by chance because God is in complete control. Well, I got a question there. What God are you talking about? Are you talking about the Europeans who have made themselves as God? Are you talking about the Most High? And then it talks about while the law code of Hammurabi predates the Torah, it was written in uniform, not in alphabet. And I thought that was interesting too. And let me see what else I wanted to point out about this. It says, and like they said previously, it was thought that Hebrew derived from some Proto-Canaanite alphabet of Phoenician, but this is now false. Hebrew was the first and oldest alphabet on earth. All other alphabets, including Phoenician, Latin, Arabic, and English, all copied the original Hebrew alphabet, and it is not hard to prove. Here is one of the 16 inscriptions, and then they go in to try to prove their point. But family, from my thing is Paleo Hebrew derived from Phoenician derived from the Hieratic, and that means it comes from us. We the one. All these teachings and things come from us, from Kemet, and they be saying Egypt, and that comes from us. And the next thing that I wanted to show y'all, let me read it to you. A wonderful book to have. Dr. I just my copying. I wasn't copying one all that great, but let me read this to you. I put that up there. You can see this is coming from Brother Walter Williams, and this is a good book for you to read, family. The Historical Origin of Christianity by Dr. Walter Williams. It says revised, and this will tell you all about how Christianity and things of this nature got started. It says, as with so many treasures from Africa that have been renamed, relabeled, or stolen, the alphabet is no exception. It is important to be aware that every alphabet of the civilized world has evolved from one of the three scripts of the ancient Egyptians: hieroglyphics, hieratic, demotic, cursive, and phonetic. Perhaps one of the greatest achievements of the ancient Egyptians was the working out of the first system of writing. And then he says, see the chart on the following page, and I'll show you that chart. He said the adapted Roman Latin alphabet that is widely used today has only been on the scene of history since the European Renaissance. Some scholars have promulgated the false notion that the Roman Latin alphabet was derived from the Greek. However, as previously stated in chapter 8, further investigation established that the so-called Greek alphabet is a misnomer and is actually the phonetic alphabet created by the ancient Egyptians. This phonetic alphabet was applied to the Greek language by the Coptic Egyptian scholars speaking Greeks. The Greeks did not have an alphabet. Prior to the Greek invasion of ancient Egypt, the Greeks did not read or write, and definitely had not developed a civilization of which writing is considered an intricate part. And this is the chart that he's talking about here. Okay, and it says showing the world's first system of writing by the ancient Egyptians, the hieroglyphs, hieratic, demotic, and the phonetic. From the phonetic ancient Egyptian alphabet came the Greek and Latin alphabet. And it says here, I couldn't I couldn't get that exactly right, that snapshot, but I'll read it to you. It says the ancient Egyptian, in contrast to the Greeks, were a literate people. They traveled around the world and applied their phonetic alphabet to the sound of the language spoken by the people with whom they came in contact. This adaptability is one of the outstanding characteristics of the phonetic alphabet. Not only are the Greek, Latin, and phonetic scripts one and the same, the Coptic script is included. As you are probably aware, Coptic means a direct descendant of the ancient Egyptian. What is now called the Arabic script, another misnomer, is the hieratic demotic script, the supposed cursive form of writing, which is the second form of writing of the ancient Egyptian, written today in calligraphy with modern adaptation. Further, it is important to note that the ancient Egyptians during the time of antiquity were the only people who were literate. The rest of the world was illiterate, including the Greeks and the Romans. And so this is Dr. Walter Williams, and this type of information is what I what I come up under, and also this saying right here by Isaac Taylor in his book, The Alphabet, Volume 1, page 145, wrote. He said, before the Hebrews went down into Egypt, the art of writing was unknown to them. When they came out of Egypt, they possessed it. Now, this is a quote that comes from Ancient Egyptian Universal Writing Modes by Brother Mustafa Guatala. And this God, man, and I encourage you to get that book too, because he is an Egyptian. He was born and raised there. So I'm going to take what he's saying in his word, somebody who was there versus somebody that I already know is one who steals, even Gardenia and Champollion. Although what I see, my conclusion, family, and this is what I see is a people trying to insert themselves in history. What I see is a people who been digging up bones, who got the research to back up that we were here first, but they are so they want to stay in power, number one, and number two is they will rather say that they came from animals, from apes and things, than to say that we were here first. And if they want to claim that they came from apes and stuff, that's fine with me. You go right ahead. But for what I see in doing my research, what the God man has sent us is a people who, as much as they dig up bones and stuff, they can't hide the fact that everything began in Egypt. And I don't like to say Egypt. I like to say what his real name is Kemet. And then Kemet, you go on back, it was called a Cuban. And then you go on back, its high name is Mexico. And Africa, and then Mexico, you go in that, I kind of got it out of order, but you get my point. So, but we were here first, and regardless of what they are trying to say, regardless of what they are trying to put out there, my take on everything is I see what you're trying to say, but I see the truth and the falsehood mixed up in there, judging from what I have learned in my journey to where I am now. I come up believing like what they say, because like I said, when I used to do my studies, and I'm wrapping it up, family. When I used to do my studies, I used to use the concordance, which had the Hebrew and the Greek. And you couldn't tell me I was doing some serious studying. You can tell me that wasn't right. And the Vine's dictionary, I had all of these Europeans information that they had put out. And I thought that all of that was true until I started doing my own research and looking deeper into these things. And so, Islam family, that's my measure. That's what I got out of the information that we have. I just see of people trying to write themselves into history when they know that they wasn't there in the beginning. They know that they have lied to the people and kept them in bondage with all of these teachings that they have, and they will continue to do it until we start bringing forth the truth and exposing them. Islam.
Islamism, scribes. We give honors to you for that and very powerful presentation that you presented. You know, and what was the name of that book by Brother Walter Williams again?
The historical origin of Christianity.
And you know, it ain't strange, sister, that I never read the brother book yet.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually been meaning to order them. And he's saying basically the same thing that I found in my research.
Right.
He's saying the same thing Mustafa Gadala said.
Yes, yes.
You know,
yes.
Before he came on the scene, so to speak, because that book is older than Mustafa Gadala's works.
Right.
But Mustafa Gadala being native-born Egyptian, see, the sources that we have are so powerful.
Right.
Because they can't say, oh, you got that from the European.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen, God, man.
Oh, Islam.
Okay, Islam.
You know, they have to acknowledge the fact that this comes from a native-born Egyptian.
Yes.
This also comes from one of our brothers, and there's others out there who back our brother Walter Williams, even Ashwaquazi.
Yes.
Brother Kaba Kamini, they know that what has been created, you know, under the auspices of Greek was done that way. They know the metal netter has not been deciphered.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I love our brother Kaba Kamini's breakdown, like in the Shabaka Stone, which I ain't read that. I have enough time to get down into going into it. I skimmed through it, and the brother, I love his exegesis. You know, and it's a couple of more out to Ashby.
Yeah.
You know, Nefer Amen in Metal Netter. You know, when they built on Metal Netter in that book, they're not talking about hieroglyphics as a language.
Right.
They're talking about, you know, really the sciences and the formulas based upon that expression. So that's high science. You know, so there's a couple of them out there that know, you know, what it is. And then you have those out there trying to push the narrative, and they don't know that what alphabet they dealing with is from the Hebraic creation, so to speak, because the Egyptians didn't use those as pictures. And they said that in that article that was talking about Joseph and all of them.
Right.
They didn't originally use that stuff. The Egyptians didn't have no alphabet.
That's right.
They're saying that basically under the Israelites, they saying, well, this came forth during the time of Joseph. But the problem with that is the Bible contradicts, you know, the Hebrews having the original alphabet, because it tells you that Joseph, he interpreted things with exegesis.
Yeah.
He didn't use alphabet. There's no place in there where it says that he learned the language of the Egyptians.
That's right.
Now, when we come into Isaiah 19 debunks also, because it says in that day, 5 nations will speak the language, you know, of Canaan. You know, and this would be the Israelites and all of them.
Right.
When the Most High was chastising Egypt, you know, and he said he was going to allow a spirit, but he said he was going to smite them and heal them. So a lot of people like to go, they don't even go into that, especially our Israelite family, because they so big on trying to demonize Kemet, so they don't want you to know.
Right.
You know, he even said Ethiopia, you know, was his people. And so that narrative that goes against our people, or Kemet, or anything Cushitic, comes from a Jewish influence.
Right.
You know, in that Jewish influence, you know, that has been taught, the narrative that has been spawned, most of the people that accept the biblical interpretation accept the traditional interpretation that we've heard all our lives coming from the church.
That's right.
And so they try to incorporate some of that in the Hebraic doctrine.
Mhm.
You know, and that's why you see our people that believe they have to demonize Egypt, but they say, well, we following the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. But if you follow the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, and he told you in Isaiah 19, you know, that you was pretty much the third in line.
Mhm.
He said, blessed be Egypt, my people, Assyria, the work of my hands, and Israel, my inheritance. You see?
Mhm.
So looking at it from that aspect, if he said Egypt, my people, and if you saying that Egypt ain't your people,
Right.
then you are going against
Well,
Most High.
yes.
You understand? And
Yes, right.
you saying that you follow law, statutes, and commandment. We can't get around that. And that's not no attack on them brothers and sisters.
Right.
Just giving it like it is. So you basically cherry picking. And
Mhm.
the only reason they have that perception, oh, you know, the Egyptians enslaved our people. Well, let's go in the context of even that.
Right.
Because the truth behind that has to be in relation to who was in Egypt ruling at that time. And
There.
records show, as we showed you last week, it was the Hyksos.
Yes.
In
Yes.
fact, even the biblical narrative, if you want to just follow that, Joseph said, you know, well, after Joseph passed, they say a Pharaoh came up that
Didn't
knew
know.
not Joseph.
Right. There you go. There
You see,
go.
and so
Yes.
if this is the case, we understand that he was totally different because he come from that first wave of the Hyksos
Mhm.
during that particular time. Because before the name Hyksos or Hikakasu, which is actually where the word Caucasus come from, Caucasus Mountain, same thing, Hikakasu.
Yes.
That's it, coming straight out of Kemet.
Mhm.
You know, if we tracing it etymologically,
Mhm.
you know, and they were known as the foreigners or the invaders, also foreign kings. So this would be a king that Joseph didn't know during that time, you know, meaning that he didn't have the ways of being just. Joseph had been raised up on the laws of Ma'at. He wasn't raised up on the biblical law.
Right.
He was raised up on the laws of Ma'at. Remember, you know, he had to come up there and end up becoming an executive ruler.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then he was later acknowledged as a prophet. So not only that, but Joseph was also given the name Zephaniah-Paneth, which
Yes.
a lot of people don't know. They like, well, let's look for the root, and they can't find it, but we done showed that to you. It's actually on our adept Jew, you know, Safek Pencutter, Safek Pencutter. This actually goes back to, it's the same thing if you do the etymology on it.
Okay.
They'll tell you, if you do the research on that name, that this represents the Hierophant.
Okay.
So Joseph's name was actually the Egyptian Hierophant degree.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? That station. So
Wow.
basically, Pharaoh had basically gave him the adept degree. He had conferred upon it.
Mhm.
So that's the 7th adept degree. See, a
Wow.
lot of people don't know that right there in the Piscean record. This ain't something we making up.
No, because I saw it. I saw it, but I didn't do the research. I'm glad you bringing that out because I didn't do the research on his new name. That ooh, wow.
Yeah, Zephaniah-Paneth is basically circle 7, to be honest with you.
Wow. Whoa.
The Shanus effect, you know, it's the same thing. It's all dealing with sound shifting and so forth and so on.
Okay.
You know, so that's why they were saying, yeah, this couldn't be a Hebrew name, so it had to be purely Egyptian. Of course, the Pharaoh gave it to him.
Right.
You know, so looking at all of this and in the light of that, you know, our Hebrew family have to also acknowledge, you know, that it was Egypt who basically aided and assisted them. The biblical text tell them, it even said that, abhor not the Egyptian. These ones let you come into their place, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm just mentioning those things, but I really want to emphasize the fact that the language, you know, that was spoken was said to be 5 nations would speak the language of Canaan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 5 cities. So if this was the case, we know that what we call Proto-Canaanite, a Proto-Sinaitic goes into what we call Paleo-Hebrew. That's what they call it, but it's really Phoenician.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the other way around. And a true Hebrew would tell you that Hebrew comes from Phoenician.
Right. Right.
But these people in this website, they giving you truth, but they trying to mix it in, and they don't want to admit that the Hebrew comes from Phoenician, because accepting that, you got to also say that, well, Phoenician is the older alphabet. You know, as far as alphabetics are concerned, because we know that the Phoenician script is a script that was adopted by every nation pretty much in their own particular way, and then they developed their own distinguished alphabet on the side of it. You know, these particular measures. So we know Phoenician itself comes from the hieratic.
Right.
And we've shown that countless times, and Brother Walter Williams said it right there.
Yes, he did.
Me having not read his book, there it go right there. See, that's why I say I read for confirmation and not just for the accumulation of information.
Right, right.
You see, and so our brother Mustafa Gadala, you know, confirms the same thing.
Yes.
Then when we get into the concept, and we got to emphasize this again, of even the methodology being used, Clement of Alexandria agreed with Horapollo.
Yes.
So if they trying to say Champollion was following in his wave, then what happened? Why did he come up with his own alphabet?
Right.
Why didn't he use the methodology of Clement of Alexandria, who was also considered a priest? They called him an Egyptian priest to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But we know Horapollo was the true last Egyptian priest to write on certain things, and he demonstrated the same methodology that we demonstrate in our Moorish Holy Quran. Contemplate upon the meaning. These things are symbolic. These things are metaphorical. These things are allegorical. These are formulas.
Yes.
You see, and so once we understand that, look at all that evidence that we have to back what we saying.
Right.
Everybody else ain't got nothing but a bunch of conjecture, because Western academia said so. And even when it comes to Western academia, we have proof from the University of Chicago, the leading chief authority. Even they would tell you that what we have in our minds today ain't what the ancient Egyptian were thinking.
Right.
It's a creation of our imagination. You know, then we have all of the papyri showing you that these things were hieratic before they end up coming up, you know, with these different pictorials and cursive hieroglyphs, which were only captions. So they can't tell us anything no more. It don't make no difference how many amongst Western academia say that, or how many people agree. That don't make it right.
There you go. There you go.
Especially with all the evidence that we have out here that's showing them otherwise.
Islam.
You know, so yeah, the Bible contradicts what that particular person was bringing forth, and that's what we wanted to be brought out, for you to be able to see the inconsistencies, but also see that, yeah, we're going to tell the truth, but at the same time, we want to make it look like we the one that invented it.
Right.
So everything else was on point as far as dealing with, well, the ancient Egyptians never had an alphabet made out of pictures. They throw that part in there, but then they say, oh, but the Hebrews is the one that originated the app. And so, and then they ain't telling you the other part. So we know better. And you were sharp, sister, with what you presented. You know, I know you have clarity, and can't nobody deceive you, scribe.
No. And Dr. Shahid, I want to encourage our listeners to go back, because last Sunday, oh man, that was so what you put out last Sunday. Go back and listen to that playback and play it over, because that's what I had to do. You know, like I say, coming from my mindset, I said, I already know the truth. I already know. But and then I'm reading, they sprinkling a little bit of truth, and then they're putting a falsehood in there. That was a challenge for me to read that stuff, and I can see why people get taken off when they don't know the truth. But we putting that truth out there. Go back and listen to last Sunday's playback. That was so powerful. And what Dr. Shahid, what you brought forth, and play it over and over, and do your own research. Like we always say, don't just take our word for it. Do your research too. You know, so gratitude, God, man. Gratitude. That's gratitude. Peace.
Oh yeah, gratitude. And another thing too, on that Masonic publication thing. Though that was a publication of them, don't necessarily mean the information was Masonic too, by the way. But they still had some information in there, you know, as far as dealing with a mixture.
Yeah.
And sometimes it ain't even intentional with certain people. It's just that's the narrative some people were pushing. Sometimes it is intentional.
Right.
that they're trying to hide the truth. But some of them just spinning the same narrative over and over again because they heard it a certain way.
Yes, yes.
And so without any mode of intent, because that's the way Western academia would have it.
That's
but
right.
when it comes to dealing with the McCoy,
Okay.
the Waterer, if you go into some of their catalogs, because if you ever order the feds from them, you know, when we order our feds, is a lot of time they'll send you them catalogs, the Masonic catalogs, right?
Right.
And if you look in them, in the book section, they got from Babylon to Timbuktu.
Okay.
They got all the Honorable Elijah Muhammad books.
Okay.
You know, they got certain people that was into the Masonry and some people that wasn't in the Masonry.
Okay.
They got different books up there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but back then, during that time, only Masons pretty much was publishing things because they were really trying to control information.
Right. Right.
Ain't nobody really have a lot of money back during that time, the 1930s and 1920s, the 1800s.
Right.
You really had to have money to purchase, and that was done on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the average layman couldn't get out there and do what they do. And if you notice, you don't see many of our scholars back there during that time doing no right.
Right. Right.
And a lot of it had to do with they didn't have the money to publish. You know, you look up, you'll find a jewel here and there for some of our ancestors that done wrote some things.
Right.
But it's rare, you know, here in the West. You know, you go to Africa, it's documents they just found, like they got thousands of documents just been uncovered in Timbuktu that haven't been translated yet.
Wow.
But over here, nah, you know, matter of fact, slaves couldn't even write back then. They'd have got killed. So, you know, you don't see us go to writing really until around about maybe, I want to say, right in the 1900s.
Right.
Maybe you lucky you'll get into the end of the 1800s and you'll see some writings here and there at surface, but mostly, you know, around the time of our prophet is when we really jumped into some real authorship.
Right.
You know, even though it was people before him like Edward Blyden and all them, they was doing writing during their particular time period. So that's why I say something here and there. But yeah, you did a good job, sister. Powerful. We know you are scribes.
Islam.
Y'all don't make no mistakes. Islamism.
Without the schism.
Talking about some, man, let me get up here. I might be, man, sister, you done took that demonstration, blowed it out the woodworks. Goodness gracious. All right, I know my scribes, my fellow scribes, I know they ready now. Islam. That's right. Our brother creator of the boundless universe said they did use signs and symbols to communicate. That's correct. And signs and symbols are used for the conscious mind and men and women of understanding. They didn't use them as an alphabet like the European try to make it look like. They communicated with the signs and the symbols. Islam. Who is that, brother Bati Bey?
Islam.
Islamism without the schism.
Islamism without the schism. First, I'd like to rise and give all man of praise to Allah, honors to the Prophet, honors to our theocratic government, our royal council, our flag, seal, emblem, our divine constitution, the swift angels, Mufti, citizens alike. Honors to all Moors here in attendance, all Moors on our panel, and honors to our professor on this junction here, our E.A.R.S class. And without further ado, I'm going to share my screen. There's a lot. There's a lot. This is crazy. And I got most of this information. I was going back trying to find this one book. And I don't know. I think I'm in possession of it right now, but I don't think that this is the one where I got the information from. We'll get into. However, it's crazy. It's crazy. So I'm going to go into the. Let me scroll up a little bit. Get to the class. It says, vet the documents herein and describe what you have learned concerning the Hebrew creation of the alphabet from the Egyptian pictograms. Now, going into the email, just to give you guys a depiction of what we're breaking down. Wrong way. I don't know if it's this one. This one. No, this one. Okay. Wanna act funny on me right now, huh? Okay. This great. I knew I should have just took that picture and put it on the put it in that document. Where is the picture? Where is the okay, you guys are playing games. Oh, the messages. Let me see. Okay. Yeah, I am not able to find it there, but there's a document where he shows the picture. Maybe I have it up. The world. Oh, there it is. Bam. Okay. So this is the document that we're supposed to be vetting, and you see that you have the Egyptian hieroglyphs right here and the sounds. One of the main things that kind of jumped out to me, and I've never understood why, and it kind of took me in a rabbit hole to a bunch of information, is that Aleph they said equals cattle, which and they say it has the K sound. Aleph in Shay, cattle, K. Aleph. Don't make no sense to me right there. I'm just putting that out there. Aleph. So then I went to the Hebrew word. What does Aleph? And it translates to ELEPH, which they say Aleph is cattle. But if you think of elephant, and that goes into that aspects to, and think about the attributes of what an elephant from the Egyptian, instructions on how to break down the hieroglyphs. So I was thinking about what an elephant exudes more so as opposed to being cattle, because A and C and Aleph and Elif does not equate to the A, and so that right there alone just threw me for a loop. Then I went down here to the D, and you see the D does not have a transliteration from this picture to here, but they have in the I don't know if this is the Paleo Hebraic. No, this is Mosaic hieroglyphic Hebrew. Okay, but it says dalet or door, and it's given a pronunciation or how to pronounce the word. But at the same time, if you have these transliterations that Egypt or the Comedian hieroglyphs don't even have translations for, how did you grasp that out of that right there? And I was just going on down the line and really looking for the anomalies in here. And you have like this cake and cap and palms, and going into the Hebrew word, you have ka and ka as keen and bak, and so the transliteration of these words of their Mosaic Hebrew hieroglyph, we know this is this is a piece of false information right here, because there was no Mosaic Hebrew dialect. They spoke distinct language that, as the professor here said, it was spoken by 5 different tribes, and they had the Phoenicians, and which they also put the Carthaginians, the Amorites, and the Moabites all underneath this classification of being Semitic. They also, when you look up the word Semitic, it goes into the word it says Afro-Asiatic. So therefore, it was talking about a distinct people that had certain features. So that takes away from the aspect of what they're saying. These are afterthoughts of the language of their language, as they try to form fit or tailor make there's what they call dialect that was just stolen from the Phoenicians. Because if you look at this is similar to the Moabite script. This is similar to the Phoenician script, and I actually sent that in my where is it at? Right here. I sent it to, where is it at? Okay. Let's see if it brings it up. Which goes right here. So Moabite Hebrew. So where did they get the Mosaic Hebrew hieroglyphs? If this was the language they 800 BC, 700 BC, that means that when they had taken over or went into Egypt, and they were trying to take over that landmass, or did take over the landmass, the Hyksos, that they took what the Egyptians had and tried to mix it with their own to form Mosaic Hebrew hieroglyph. So, and what goes in further into this is let me see what else I got on here. Make sure I'm not just sporadic. Okay. More. And this is just something I put. I said, what I discovered is the legitimacy of the Hebrews creating their own language doesn't chronologically have merits because their Abjad and similar dialects of Abjad were already regularly in use. So this puzzled me because I read that outside of the biblical reference, Hebrews did not exist. And what backs this is the letter of Tel El Armana and the letter E.B. Tob, which was he was some type of general, was sending letters to Pharaoh Kutatin, and he was sending letters to him about the area, because I guess his group, he had a group that was going on and taking over, taking over, and I'm gonna show you guys later in a second. So then I went into it says during this time, it says the 10th century BC comprised the years of 1000 BC to 1000 BC, and I somehow got this misconstrued. And the century saw the early Iron Age. So this is just giving you a depiction of that during that time. It says it was the end of the what did they say? The end of the Bronze Age and starting of the Iron Age. And the Greeks were in at this time the Dark Ages. So if the Greeks in that time at the Dark Ages, that means that the information that they're saying about the Semitic, which was a lot of this language come from, where that word Semitic is actually coming or transliterated from the Greek. So I'm going to go into this book because I think that it would better describe what I'm getting into. I don't want to go too far. Yeah. So this book is called The Early History of the Hebrews. And I went into this book because those by I believe it's by his European, and I don't really have his go to the top. Just see what his name is. I was typing in. One second. Yeah, it doesn't have it on this page. It says Library of the University of Michigan, blase. Where's it at? Early History of the Hebrews. The Egyptian by the same author. Again, I don't have this. Oh, by the Rev A.H. Sacy. So a lot of his stuff, it got truth and falsehood strangely mixed in there, but the fact that you can I'm gonna show you that he tells the truth, but he tries to lie in the middle of it and then brings back the truth to confirm that he just lied. So it's kind of crazy. Listen to this guy reading his information. Here's one of the I said I went on a rabbit hole. It says, it would seem, therefore, that as if it were the name, and they're talking about the Hebrews. My fault. I should have started right up here. It says, the oppressed people in the age of the Exodus are known as Hebrews to the Egyptian taskmaster. Moses was one of the Hebrew children, and he declares to the Egyptian monarch that Yahweh of Israel was the God of the Hebrews. All right. It says, it would seem, therefore, as if it were the name by which the people of Canaan, and more especially the Israelites, were known as the Egyptians. It says the Israelites, says, and more especially the Israelites were known to the Egyptians. So that means they're saying that the Hebrews, if they were known, they would have been known by the Hebrews to the Egyptians. And yet there is no certain trace of it on the Egyptian monuments. In the Egyptian text, the south of Palestine is called Kar, perhaps the land of the Horites, the coastlands in the Zahida Dry, and the whole country is indifferently known as the Upper Lotan Syrian and Phoenicu, or the Phoenicians. When we come down to the 19th dynasty, we find the name of Canaan already established in Egyptian literature, and that what kind of took me into when I was looking up the 10th dynasty, because I was like, when did the Hebrew language come about? Where it says it says around the 10th dynasty. Then I looked at something else, and it says, well, the only person that ever spoke Hebrew that they had was Moses, and Moses was of the 14th dynasty. And so I was looking up the time. This time span was talking about 1549 to 1550 or /49 to 1292 BCE. And so I was looking up at the king of Egypt at that time. So that's why I kind of went off into this, looking up the history to cross-reference the time slots of what they're saying, and it all didn't make sense. Going on, it says, it is equally impossible to discover it in the cuneiform records of the Babylon and Assyrian. The Babylonians from time immemorial called Palestine the land of the Amorites, doubtless because the Amorites were the dominant people there in those early ages when Babylon armies first made their way to distant west. The Assyrians called it the land of the Hittites for the same reason, while in the letters from the Asiatic correspondence of the Pharaoh found at Tel Armana, and dating from the centuries before the Exodus, it is determined Canaan or Canaan. Jumping down, it says, with names met with in the hieroglyphics and cuneiform texts. More than one attempt has been made to identify the mysterious names with the names met within the hieroglyphic and cuneiform text. The Egyptian monument refers to a class of foreigners called Apuru, who were employed in the time of the 19th and 20th dynasty to convey the blocks of stone needed for the great building of Egypt from the quarries of the Eastern Desert. So that's saying basically they're saying in this that they were hired. They weren't actually slaves. They were indentured servants that had were coming there more so for work as opposed to anything else. That's what this guy's saying. This reverend is saying out of here. Not saying it's true. I'm just passing on the information and why I went on my tangent. It says, but there are serious objections to these identifications. There are reasons for believing that the Apuru and the Aperu do not represent the same name, and no satisfactory explanation has hitherto being forthcoming as to why we should meet with Hebrews of the Israelitish race still serving as public slaves in Egypt so long after the Exodus as the reigns of Ramses III and Ramses IV. Going down, it says, since the discovery of the cuneiform tablets of Tel Alamana, another attempt has been made to find the name of the Hebrews outside the pages of the Old Testament. Ebed-Tob, the vassal king of Jerusalem, in his letters to Khunaten, the heretic pharaoh of the 18th dynasty, speaks of certain enemies who he terms as Kabari. And this is what when I was going into that. So if outside of the Old Testament, there was no information about the Hebrews, then how in that short amount of time did they come up with a language? Also, stemming off of what the Egyptian was. Well, they didn't have their own language. These languages was already being spoken, but they tried to create their own identity because they say that Hebrew was a subculture, kind of like when you think about Mexicans calling themselves Chicanos. That's a subculture. That's not an actual classification of people. That's not a nation of people. Those are subcultures that were used during that time to classify people that were in what I further uncovered out of here as nomads, more so nomads. The Kabari under the leadership of Elimelech was already established in the country, and in concert with the Suti or Bedouin were wresting it out of the hands of Egypt. Some scholars with more haste than discretion have pronounced the Kabari of the cuneiform tablets to be the Hebrews of the Old Testament. If that were the case, Hebrews and Israelites could no longer be considered to be synonymous terms. In the age of the Kabari, the Israelites of the scripture were still in Egypt. So they were still in Egypt. They saying the people of Kabiri were still in Egypt at that time. So how could they, but outside of again, I'm going to reiterate, outside of the Old Testament, they don't have no identification of these people called Hebrew. That's what this is saying. This guy said. It says the Tel El Armana tablets accordingly gives us no help in regarding to the name of the Hebrews, nor do any other cuneiform inscription with which we are acquainted. And I'm just going, I just highlighted certain things out here. We are still unable to define what with exactness who the Hebrews were. The origin and first use of the name are still a matter of doubt. We must be content with the fact that it came to be applied, if not exclusively, at all events predominantly to the people of Israel in their dealings with their foreign neighbors. And maybe the Hebrew was the working class that decided to go, as in this literation, the Hebrew was a working class that decided to go to Egypt and transport those blocks from the quarry to wherever Khutan wanted to build that temple. Maybe that was what Hebrew was describing, as opposed to the entire people. And so this is again why I'm saying, and it's saying Israel, but in here he also says Palestine, because Palestine was the name of the land. Palestine was the name of the land at that time. So therefore, those people already had language and was already communicating with each other. So the Hebrew language is nothing but offshoots and different dialects of what was already in existence. And if it did have the Mosaic hieroglyphs, that means that came after Moses, after he got educated and decided to take his people out of there, and he was educated from what he understood, and they were mixing their language with those ADEPT teachings. That's what I'm grasping from all this. And again, here we go, some more. It says Babylonian kings claimed rule over Canaan, and the Canaanitish merchants were established in Babylonia. The language of Canaan was heard in Babylonian cities, and even the rulers of the land were of foreign blood. And this is going to speak later on. You're going to see why that how we know that that language was actually taken over. That land was taken over. So therefore, a lot of the things that they're iterating or trying to literate as being Hebrew was never Hebrew. It was of the Kemetic knowledge. It was from the Kemetic people. It says the race which founded the kingdom spoke a language. Now this is talking about. Let me read up a little bit further, because It says, before the age of the Exodus, however, the Armenian population of Mesopotamia became the subjects of a people who seem to have come from the north. The Mitannis on the eastern bank of the Euphrates, not far from the modern Birzhik, and I think that Providence is still there. I think that's still there. I'm not sure though. I remember seeing that name, but I'm not sure. Became the capital of a kingdom which extended over Naharim on the one side and to the neighbored of the Orontes on the other. The race which found the kingdom says spoke a language unlike any other with which we acquainted. It was, however, agglutinative and exhibits certain general resemblance to some of the languages of the Caucasus. Now, this is why I mean that they tried to intermix. They intermix. Now, he goes down in here. Oh, it's not yet, though. Okay, it says, but neither Tarku nor Nakor is Aramaic in the usual sense of the term. Both seem to belong to the mixed dialect which has been revealed to us by German excavation at Singeli, north of the Gulf of Antioch, and about which scholars have disputed whether to call it Hebraized Aramaic or Aramaized Hebrew. At any rate, it is a dialect which, though Aramaic in origin, has been profoundly influenced by the language of Canaan. This is therefore saying that it's Aramaic. It has more root in Aramaic, but they're trying to latch on to people that have already been established in order to bring about bring about some type of merits in order to give themselves a foundation in history. And this is showing right here that they didn't know. They're trying to say Hebraized Aramaic. Well, that's this first time I heard this terminology, Hebraized Aramaic or Aramaized Hebrew. So we know that Aramaic was a language because that's the language that they say Yehoshua spoke. So if that language that's the Yehoshua spoke, why would they be attaching the Hebrew to it? That's why I say the Hebrew was more so as we say, what are the different classes? You got the working class, the middle class. That's where I think the Hebrew more so the terminology of that the labor class of the Israeli society, not the priestly line. The monuments of Egypt have shown us what these Amorites look like, and this is what I mean. We're hitting this dude. So some of this stuff you got to take, and some of the stuff you got to discard. It says they belong to the blonde race, like the Libyans of North Africa at Abu Simbel. Their skins are painted yellow. The Egyptians equivalent of white. Their eyes blue, and their beard and eyebrows red. So this is talking about the Hyksos, the ones that invaded. That came in and invaded the lands and started taking over the lands and intermixing the flock. Now this is one of the parts that I remember this brother Tahuti. He used to always bring this in, saying that though they try to attribute the Egyptians as being European and having the dociocephalic or long head race, understand they're not talking about from top to bottom. They're talking about the anterior to posterior head. So that means round around your head is longer. And when you look this up, the oldest skulls, you have the dociocephalic, you have the spaciocephalic, you have mesiocephalic, and you have brachiocephalic. The Egyptians, or what they're going to say, the brown races, or even the Israelites, have the dociocephalic head, which is it's bigger from the front of the head, or bigger in diameter from the front of the head to the back of the head, which would exclude the European race. So right there, off that science alone will exclude them being the actual people that are talking about in this. But that's why I said this thing had me going off on a off into a whole different understanding when it came down to disproving the fact that the Hebrew language is not it's not its own entity, that it came from a conglomerate of different languages and different ideals that was given to a class of people that would call themselves Hebrews, or the working class, the labor class, whatever, what have you, for the and then they tried to give themselves kind of like a more so secret society undertone to it, and with that I'm just gonna rest right there because I got a lot more information, but I think I might have might have confused a little some of you, you know what I'm saying? So with that, I will turn the meeting back over. I will stop sharing my screen, and boom. Islam.
And gratitude, brother, for that drawing. Most powerful measure. It don't get no plainer than that. Man, these scribes ain't playing up in here. Goodness gracious. All right, next scribe, Islam. Islamism, Grand National Secretary of the State.
Islam Moorish kin. First of all, I want to rise, giving all praises to our Father God Allah, giving honor to our Prophet Noble Jurah Ali, the last prophet in these days and times, giving honor to our Consul General of Texas for opening our meeting according to law, our National Assistant Grand Secretary of State for reading our subject chapter for the week, to our family online, to our scribes, Act 1, to our host instructor, Dr. Shedowa Menti Mohemed Shepsuel, our National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Moorish America, and to our scribes that brought forth their assignments. So powerful. Praise the Lord. I'm going to share my screen. And let me know if you can see it, Dr. Shaheen.
Okay, yeah, we got you in the queue now, Grand Secretary of the State.
Praise Allah. I'm striving student. I want to give honor to the assignment because we're looking at, as our Moorish kin have stated, our homework will consist of vet the documents herein and describe what you have learned concerning the Hebrew creation of their alphabet from Egyptian pictograms. So I went in with the mindset of the three attachments that were presented in our email. This is what I was going through with a fine-tooth comb to discern truth from falsehood. So now, and coming from the comparison of Egyptian symbols, page 4, symbology is the art of expression by symbols, the study or interpretation of symbols, a system of symbols. And this is the following. This theory results from the following facts. Horapollo teaches the principle of Egyptian symbology when he says that the hawk is the symbol of the soul. For in the Egyptian tongue, the name of the hawk is Bayeth, signifying soul and heart. By, soul, and Eth, heart. And that's coming from Horapollo's text. Thus, in Egypt, symbology rested on the fact that the name of a symbol contained the idea or ideas symbolized. Since the hawk borrowed its significance from the two roots of its name, to us, the testimony of Horapollo appears positive. Is it indisputable? And see, we recognize the fact through our teachings and what we have actually studied ourselves and bring forth the papyrus and things of that nature, that when we look at the hieroglyphics, that's dealing with people, places, and things, so when we are the other handout, origins of the Aleph Bet, page 4. Now I was basically plucking out some of these demonstrations that were in essence remixing. It was here at Sarabit, I believe. Now that's the first red flag. Do you know? I believe. The alphabet was invented by Canaanites. The invention of the alphabet ushered in what was probably the most profound media revolution in history. Earlier writing systems like Egyptian hieroglyphic and Mesopotamian cuneiform with its curious wedge-shaped characters, each required a knowledge of hundreds of signs. To write or even to read a hieroglyphic or cuneiform text required familiarity with these signs and the complex rules that govern their use. By contrast, an alphabetic writing system uses fewer than 30 signs, and people need only a few relatively simple reading rules that associate these signs with words. So you can see how they were about to try to create this demonstration in reference to stating, yeah, this came out of Kemet, but it actually was remixed and putting the Hebrew demonstration on it. Now, a pictograph is a picture or image that represents a word or phrase. Now it speaks about, and I just pulled out certain highlighted portions. The genius of the Canaanites in contributing to this long development of written language was to devise an alphabet based on something linguists call the acrophobic principle. They're always renaming stuff. That is one symbol, one sound. And we know that that has nothing to do with the hieroglyphs coming out of Kemet. And you can rearrange these symbols in a number of ways to make words. So now when you're dealing with the hieroglyphs, as involving metaphysics, formulas, being able to bring forth an exegesis, they're trying to boil this down to one symbol represents a particular letter or a particular sound, and this is how they make the words. But as our instructor has given on many times, and we have also the source materials to represent that, nothing could be further from the truth. Observing Egyptian hieroglyphs, pictorial writing, decided we can do something better than that. And they adopted hieroglyphic symbols to this acrophobic principle in order to write graffiti in the mind. So I'm just basically looking at the description of how we can do something better than that. We can do something better than Kemet. And they termed it as graffiti. Now, you know, that's on a negative connotation. So, and this is how for me, this is how I separate truth from falsehood, or red flags, or trying to insert somebody else's phobias or biases or racist thinking into making this a remix. Dealing with the interactions between Egyptians and Canaanites led ultimately to the script we identify as the Phoenician alphabet, which was the parent, as our scribes have also pulled forth, to the writing of a whole host of Northwest Semitic languages, Hebrew, Aramaic, and a whole host of languages spoken on the east side of the Jordan by the Amorites, Moabites, and Edomites. And it was the script that the Greeks discovered in their interactions with those Canaanites, those red men, those Phoenicians on the Syrian coast, and brought back to the Aegean. Now and a whole lot of hatred and trying to downplay what it is our ancestors brought forth. Origins of the alphabet. For these illiterate Canaanites, the pictorial meanings of the new letters were paramount. Now, they used the term mnemonic. The iconic meaning of the hieroglyphs, what they actually pictured, served as an important mnemonic tool for the Canaanite adopters. Now, that word in itself means a device, such as a pattern of letters, ideas, or associations that assists in remembering something, okay, or aiding or designed to aid the memory. So this is what they're speaking of. The iconic meaning of the hieroglyphs was so important that even today, when the Hebrew letters have lost all iconic connection to the old pictorial models, we can't recognize what the letters are supposed to picture. Most letters are still named after the old pictures. Again, the question is, what old pictures are you speaking about? So then they go into the breakdowns, similar to what Dr. Bati Bey brought as far as his chart and graph was concerned. Now, mostly by taking Egyptian hieroglyphs as pictorial models, the Canaanite inventors of the alphabet used the small selection of pictograms they chose in a completely new way with no reference to and no knowledge of the correct reading of the signs in Egyptian. So make it make sense. Are you coming from Kemet or are you not? Or are you demonstrating remix? So this just shows the truth, and they're contradicting them on their own selves. The resemblance to the house in the Proto-Sinaitic inscriptions representing Beit is unmistakable and is very different from the original Egyptian hieroglyph. The only Egyptian inscriptions where the square house is consistently used come from this area of Sinai and from the Middle Kingdom. And it appears unequivocally several times in Stela 92, which is probably a hieroglyphic Egyptian text made by Canaanites who were familiar with the Proto-Sinaitic inscriptions. They confused the picture of their own house/letter. Always somebody else is confusing their own stuff with the correct Egyptian hieroglyph. The Proto-Sinaitic alphabet may well have been invented in the circle of the Canaanite Kebeded and his followers, many of whose names appear in his stela. May well have. We got to look at those keywords as well. However, she seems not to have digested the main theme, namely that the alphabet was invented by highly sophisticated Northwest Semites who knew not only hieroglyphics, but probably also hieratic. Now here they introducing hieratic, okay? The cursive script generally used by Egyptians at that time. The cultural objects, hieroglyphic signs, selected for the consonants of the alphabet were all from sophisticated life. None was from the life of pastoral nomads or mining laborers. Egyptian hieroglyphs were not an alphabet. Of that we can agree. But pictograms that represented entire words and ideas. The fact that there were 734 different hieroglyphs clearly proves this was not an alphabet. In 1927, Sir Alan Gardiner categorized and recorded each of the 734 pictograms in his monumental book, Egyptian Grammar, being an introduction to the study of hieroglyphs. Well, we've seen that chart before in our lessons previously, and how he still picked a couple of signs here and there and attached his own demonstration to it, because as we know, there was no alphabet chart coming out of Kemet. Remember that the index A through Z does not correspond to the Egyptian alphabet. Instead, it was a part of Gardinia's alphanumeric categorization system. Egyptian hieroglyphs are logophonetic. Now, of course, looking this word up, that's a writing system. Logophonetic is a writing system, which are systems that incorporate symbols that both directly translate to sound, in this case syllables, and translate to actual visual representations of words. For example, a glyph of a jug could mean precisely that, a jug, or the sound t. So now it's saying that the Egyptian hieroglyphs are a logophonetic system of writing, were used in three ways. And this is what was brought forth in class last Sunday as well. First, in some cases, each hieroglyphic symbol represented 1, 2, or 3 of the 24 Egyptian language consonants as phonograms. Now, we had done assignments in reference to the bilateral and trilateral, where they're dealing with consonants and bringing forth the words from that. It was this concept that the Hebrews borrowed from the Egyptians to create their first true phonographical alphabet in history. Second, in other cases, a hieroglyph represented an entire word. Third, sometimes hieroglyphs function as a phonically silent determinatives in order to differentiate between, for example, a full or crescent moon, or morning, noon, or evening sun. Now, see, we can better comprehend, because when we were going over hieratic, demonic, we saw the determinatives being placed to clarify what the sentence was speaking about. And it's one thing to read about something, but it's another thing to be able to actually go in there, do the research, put your hands on the papyri, and try to interpret not what European says that it was, but what you have gleaned from the specific papyri. So now the summary of lessons learned from the E.A.R.S class, giving honor to coming from the Book of Fire, our instructor, Dr. Shahid, and also this is special assignment. And these items I had to take as mantras to be able to, was almost for me like walking through a minefield of falsehood, picking out what was the truth. And the more that we do the research, the clearer it becomes. So the symbols taken from the Kemethian glyphs and incorporation into Hebrew language, no alphabet chart in Kemet, but in Hebrew, they had two different degrees, one coming from Moses, one coming from Joseph. The pictograms of Kemet hieroglyphs were used differently by Hebrews as alphabets. The pictograms, which are a pictorial symbol from a word, for a word or phrase. The pictographs were used as the earliest known form of writing, examples having been discovered in Kemet and Mesopotamia from before 3000 BC. Well, we know it was even further back than that. And this is coming directly from our class last week, where Dr. Shahid brought up the point. The alphabet comes from hieroglyphs. Which one? Are you talking about the holy engravings or impressions on the walls and monuments? Or are you speaking about the Proto-Canaanite script of the Hebrews? That to me, like stuck like cement, okay? Because prior to these classes, I too was thinking that what Europeans put out there, you know, that was the truth. But when you go back and thought and do the research and receiving revelations and know which source materials to get it from, then you see how ludicrous this sounds. So again, Kemethian hieroglyphs were not an alphabet, but represents words and ideas. In other words, people, places, and things. And that's my assignment for today. Islam.
And Islamism without the schism. See, that's what I'm talking about. Woo-wee. Man, these scribes ain't even playing. See, that's what I'm talking about. You know, and so when we look at this special drawing, you know, this is a powerful demonstration, family. You know, like we said, you know, they come up with different terminology to try to spin the narrative, you know, like they did with the concept of the Mosaic alphabet and, you know, all types of things. But you drove home the truth then, Grand Secretary of the State, with what you just brought forth, you know, because, yeah, I mean, it's been a grand degree of deception until we came along. And now we got a band of angels, and this ain't stopping here, because the more that we move on, we know the more it's going to be uncovered and the more we're going to increase in what we're standing on. Because like we got too much that's backing us. You know, we're not only, remember, our sources are not just what we're reading only, but we go back to the ancient, well, the most relevant, we'll say scribe that it was, like I say, Horapollo, and his methodology was the same as the way it's described in our Moorish Holy Quran. We can't get around that. And so, you know, the symbology has to do with the key. And see, when we look beyond that and we try to ignore that, you know, and we don't understand that these symbols or these pictures have a greater degree of unfoldment, because to be honest with you, to study the METU is really to study, you know, the book of life, the book of creation. You see, and when we're talking about METU, the language of God, God does not speak in the way that you hear me speaking right now. You know, so when the great God speaks, you know, it tells you, even in the Grand Quran, it's not fitting that Allah should speak to man except he speak to him by sending a messenger, divine inspiration, wahi, revelation, or speaking from behind a veil. You know, this is what it says in the Grand Quran. You know, it also speaks of Allah disdains not the use of any type of similitude, you know, to express examples. For example, every surah in the Grand Quran has what I call the heart of that special surah, and that is the name of the surah. And I say it all the time, and I give examples. I give you a prime example of what I'm talking about when I say this right here. Allah disdains not the use of similitudes or examples, of the highest aspect of creation all the way down to the lowest and minutest aspect of creation. But I'm going to give you a prime example right here. And I want you to see this here. We're going to do it. I'm going to share my screen real quick after I get this up. Let me see. Okay. Let's just do it like this here. I want to see if they give me the whole. Okay, yeah, they got plenty of copies up here. Let me make sure this is the English version. And honors to the brother Yusuf Ali as well, because a lot of his commentary is very sophisticated, and I noticed throughout the years they actually changed some of that commentary, because I have the old version and I have the new version of our brother Yusuf Ali. And yeah, in the new version they took some of that esoteric and symbolic meaning out, and he was lauded, so to speak, as being a Sufi, So let's see here. Let's see. I don't want to necessarily go into the book. I want to go into, here it is right here. And I actually did some things in relation to this. I put some of this in my information. I want to show our family this just for a prime example. Here it is. Okay, let me share my screen. Now I'm going to share the entire screen. Okay, there we go. So here we go right here. This is just a random site I picked up, nothing special about it. I just wanted to go here, right? And if you look here, every surah, when I say that there is one particular measure that deals with the heart of the surah, like this, Al-Fatiha is called the opening, right? Imran is called the family of Imran, right? The table spread, right? The heights, the repentance, Barat, right? Prophet Hud, thunder. So these all represent, whether we know it or not, people, places, and things. What is the family of Imran, for example? These are people. What is the table spread? Something you spread over a table, right? But this is a thing, right? What are the heights? This actually deal with the heights of divinity, but it represents a place, a destination, so to speak, right? People, places, and things so far, right? Repentance, a barat, immunity. This represents a particular condition. Tuba, it means to turn away. So you will find people demonstrating repentance. You see? So who? This is a person. Thunder. This is something that is expressed in nature, creation. You think of thunder? We already know lightning bolts is soon to follow or proceed or however, Then we have a rocky track. That's another place. Bani Israel. We know that's the Israelites. Surah 17. That's the people, children of Israel, right? So these are prophets. All of these are people, places, and things. And if you go through here, the criterion, we talked about this last night, judging between right and wrong. Ants, spider, the wise, confederates, originator of creation. These those raised in rank, people again, crowds, gold adornments, bowing the knee, the prophet, inner apartments. I mean, we can go through all the star. If we were to place all of these up there in a pictorial form outside of saying this right here, and we put, pictures up here that depicted the winds, being scattered, or a star, and then we expressed, a symbol to represent God most gracious, iron, all of these different measures here, somebody at battle, gathering, a banishment. If we displayed that with dealing with people, showed hypocrites on the wall, did all that, divorce, dominion, somebody ruling, if we expressed all of these particular measures, family, in a pictorial form, would that make them an alphabet? No. These would actually be an expression of the actions of the book of creation as it has to do with people, places, and things. You know what I mean? If we were to depict these in a pictorial form, you see? And we can go all the way up through this demonstration, you see? All the way up through here. The woman who pleads. So every one of these measures, when a surah is named, there is something in the surah that relates to the title, whether people don't know. And that is the true heart. I call it the heart of the surah. I call it the heart of the surah. For example, I always use this example, because this is one that's more obvious. You can go through them, and when you read it, you look for essence. Wow, they don't even have it in here. Oh, yeah, it is. It's over here. My bad. Okay, so if you notice here, in Surah Nur, the light, right? That's what this is called, the light. So what is the relevance that is being mentioned here? See, the Arabs don't even teach this, family. They don't teach that each chapter has a heart to the surah. This pretty much encompasses the meaning behind the whole surah. Just like they said Al-Fatiha represents the totality of what's represented in the Quran. The 7 oft repeated verses is saying knowing it is like knowing the whole Quran. But the emphasis is, okay, this is the light. So you hear me quote this one all the time. And they say in certain translations, Allah is the light of the heavens and earth. And you hear me say, well, the heaven represent the mind. The earth represent the body. So God is the light of the mind and the body, right? In the parable of his light, it says as if there were a niche. And I got an expression what I put together. Y'all seen it before. Within it, a lamp enclosed in a glass. And the glass, as it were, a brilliant star. See, that's the star. That's man himself. Lit from a blessed tree, an olive. See? Because we know the olive is a sacred tree in Islamism, neither of the east nor of the west, whose oil is well nigh luminous. See, all this is symbolic expression, but this is the heart of this particular surah. See, it says, though fire scarce touch it or barely touch it, light upon light. God doeth guide whom he will to his light. God doeth set forth parables for men, and God doeth know all things. The parable is, this represents arm, leg, arm, head, that star. Within it, the niche in the glass, or the lamp, so to speak, is symbolic to spirit clothed with soul made in the form of Allah. The spirit represents the light of the lamp. You see, the niche represents the soul. So we're talking about Ka and Ba, we're talking about the Sahu, we're talking about flesh divine. You see, this is just giving exegesis off the head on the fly. But then it says, lit is such a light in houses which God or Allah, the great God Allah, have permitted to be raised to honor. You are the temple of perfection that has been raised to honor. It says, for the celebration in them of his name, in them he is glorified in the mornings and in the evenings again and again. So, this is a powerful demonstration right here, but this is the heart's core of this surah, Nur. You see? And it's the same if I were to go to the heights, for example. Like I told you, the Arabs ain't going to give it to you like this right here. They don't teach it. This just came through years of research and study, that we was able to pick up on this stuff. We weren't even looking for it, Al-Araf. So the heights, what is in this surah relevant to the heights? All this is the same thing, getting into symbology now and reading the book of creation, because it's more information you can get out of here, and other texts. Once you go into the truth, you begin to be able to read and see the truth in many different aspects. And a lot of people been reading the Quran for years, and they don't know each surah has a heart. I'm using this language. I ain't never read that nowhere, but that's the best way I can explain it to you. You know, each surah has a heart. So this is dealing with the heights. So what is this? What's the significance of the heights that need to be paid attention to in this surah? Right here. It says, when thy Lord drew forth from the children of Adam, from their loins and their descendants, and made them testify concerning themselves, saying, am I not your Lord who cherishes and sustains you? Now, what this is saying, that before, you know, the seed of Adam even came forth, you see, it's saying before they even came into existence physically, they had already been brought into the presence, you know, of the great God, basically. And he asked them, am I not your Lord who cherishes and sustains you? You see? Now, this is the same as chapter, 101, when we say, who made you? So this question was basically asked in a different way right here. Am I not your Lord who cherishes and sustains you? Who made you? And they said, yeah, we do testify. Least ye should say on the day of judgment, of this we were never mindful, because it is innately put in us. So we were on the heights. In the heights, humanity was in the heights, so to speak. It said, or at least you should say, our fathers before us may have taken false gods, but we are their descendants after them. Wilt thou then destroy us because of the deeds of men who were futile? You see? So this is basically letting you know, family, when it comes to this special drawing here, the importance of this is that you can't deny the truth because it's already in you. That's why nobody can be no atheist. You see what I'm saying? You can't blame it on your mommy and your daddy and nobody and none of that. The chairman tell you that all the time, right? So you can't do it. It's already in you. We were called forth before coming into the manifest physically. See what I'm saying? There's a measure similar to this where it says that Abraham met Melchizedek while he was still in the loins of his father. In other words, before he physically became manifest, and this is the true meaning behind the order of Melchizedek, so to speak. You see, it represents the sacred grove or the sacred garden, Melchizedek. That's the way of saying it comedically, Melchizedek, Melchizedek. So when you look at it from that special aspect, family, and you understand that, you see the symbolism of being able to read the book of creation. And we can go throughout the whole book and show you different measures on the heart, but this is what it's talking about. You know, when one was pulled up on the heights, you know, before they even came into the manifest, that's the real heart of this surah. You see? So this is a Meccan surah too. So a lot of the Meccan surahs have a lot of spiritual meaning to them. You know, a deep esoteric meaning to them. A lot of the Medinan surahs, you know, more had to do with the plane of things made manifest, you know, a lot of different trials and warfare, and, you know, because the revelations begin in Mecca, you see? So it's a powerful demonstration of the way the great God Allah reveals his truth. You know, it's not strange. It's not by chance, you know, so this is a powerful demonstration, family. So I just wanted to show that to you and give you some insight so that you can see, if you go through any one of them books in the Grand Quran, they mentioning people, places, and things. But if we were to put these in, you know, the hieroglyphic form, then you would see exactly how these things can be expressed right there. You can find a glyph for all of that stuff that's being stated there. And I did it on the first 7 surahs. You know, I actually created that special measure, a similar drawing on the first 7, because I was going to go through the whole 114 just to show our people, you know, how ones can see these things being expressed and use symbology to go into the meaning of it. In fact, I'm going to show it to our people so they'll know exactly what we're talking about, you know, before I open up again. So let me do this real quick. I'm gonna share the screen again. So this is very important that our people notice, because once you understand that, then you know how to read the book of creation. You know how to listen to the silent voice that speak within, i.e., the language of God, METU. The language of God is spoken behind the things that you see with your carnal eyes. In fact, the word knowledge in and of itself has to do with the things that are hidden from the surface level. True knowledge takes you beyond the surface level, family. So let me show it to you in here, because I got it in here. I got a couple of things here. This is my little online quick sourcing. And I actually have it in some of my PDF, but I didn't really want to pull them up just yet right now in this particular setting, because we hear from the scribes. But I will show you this. Like prime example. Here's a measure here, and this is actually coming from I want to say this Egyptian-born brother too. Yeah, Osama Sadawi. And he goes into breaking down certain things. Look at how he demonstrated this, right? You see he has the bilaterals up here, but look at how he's demonstrating the soul. And then he goes into the Quran. He say, then we raise you up after death that you might be thankful. He got some real good measures in here where he actually put Abraham or Ishmael, different pictures in their Egyptian depictions, but he's placing these things up there so that you have an idea. This was another one too of his right here. The best nation in order basically for forbidding right and wrong. And you see he put mirror to mirror, this is love. We see this represents a bilateral here, and it actually means mirror. So that's why he put that there. You know what I mean? He got some good stuff. He got a lot of stuff online. I like the way he vibrate that measure. So you see I put up here, Moors, you are the best nation to be raised from amongst fallen humanity. Let us enjoy what's right and forbid what's wrong. I try to get our people to thinking, and use a lot of certain things to wake our people up, so to speak. So let me go a little further here, because I know that portion that I'm looking for is not way off. Okay, where you go here, not there, not there. Yes, sir. And this is actually the work of that brother up here. I showed that to y'all before. I got to get that copy of that book too. Okay, a little bit more. Okay, not there. Almost there. Take my time. Go through this demonstration, because I already know if I go to going too fast, it'll freeze up on me. Okay. Let me see here. Not that one, not that one, not that one. Okay, yeah, we almost there though. Signs and symbols of a conscious mind in men and women of understanding. Okay, let me see here. Not that one. Okay, not that one. Okay, not that one. Here it is right here. This is it, Moors. I did the first 7 surahs right here. And if you see it, I said the Kemetic exegesis of the first saras instead of surah, sarah. Right? The saras are surahs of the Grand Ka-Ra-Ani. 3 words. Ka we know represents the soul. I put the Q there to show you. Ra represents the light. Ani represents, that a scribe, so to speak. A scribe of the book of light. Quran. So the first 3, see this Al-Fatiha, right? The opening. So what I use comedically, you can see that one is performing what they call the opening of the mouth ceremony. This is what this is in comedic terms. That's the tool. It's supposed to be a dental tool, actually. This is the same thing that is depicted when we deal with the Big Dipper and Little Dipper. You notice you have what we call the kafesh, but this is the Little Dipper. You know, the 7 stars are often aligned with it. Notice this is a star, and then it has that same measure here. You know, but I just wanted to emphasize all of that as well. So now this represents the opening. So the opening of the mouth. To us, that's the constellation of Meskheti, the North Star. You know, opening of the mouth, God speaking things into existence. Say everything came into existence through that special realm. No one-eyed Moors can use it to navigate. So this one is called the cow. You see, Al-Baqarah, Surah 2. So I depicted it comedically here. You know, it ain't hard to do. You know, it's just the core that's being put up here. This is Ali Imran, the family of Imran, right? And so I use Amarna, a measure out of Amarna in Kemet, you know, Telemarna, and a depiction of the Akhenaten in the family here, right? As you see the Aten disc up here, they giving honors to the rays. I always talk about the rays represent symbolic truths that have spread it throughout humanity, the hand that comes, you know, dealing with the particular mastermind that came from that people, right? But here, this is Katesh. Katesh is said to be the goddess, and you can see she's trying to bring about peace between these two men trying to go to war with each other. But anyway, Al-Nisa, the woman. Then we had Al-Ma'idah, the table. Actually, it says the table spread, but you can see up here, one is spreading on the table. Now, here you have Al-Anam, the cattle. You see all the cattle. This is kind of distorted here. But you see how I'm using all these pictures, you know, to depict these measures. Al-Araf, the heights. You see what we spoke of about one being chosen. So you can see one as they on the plane of things made manifest. You see the rays shining down on one, the 5 that fell, huh? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got another measure that deal with the 2 that held and the 5 that fell. Similar to this, but that's another measure. So this is like a step pyramid, and one being buried there or even meditating there, whatever the case may be. But then this would represent one in their higher state of consciousness, in the heights of their divinity. Because remember, our brother Apollo told you that this is a symbol of the universe, the serpent. So if this is the universe, then this is the plane of things made manifest. Then going beyond the threshold of this point, you got to be in the heights. You know, we see the wajet here. We see the concept of the car, you know, being passed forward. That's a symbol of that little circle with the line on it. You know, we seen it. Or the bar sometime, you know. So this is a powerful demonstration. So I utilize that to show examples. And I was going to do it, like I say, with the whole of the Grand Quran, but I just hadn't got around to it. Just showing you how you can express these things with pictorials, but that don't mean that those are alphabets. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, this is how, when you get into a deeper expression of things, you understand what symbology really is and how important symbolism really is. You know, and why signs and symbols are for conscious mind and men of understanding, because there's a multiplicity of conclusions that you can come to. You know, you can't just put it in a box. You know, when you look at it this way, this means that, well, if it's the language of God, METU, the language of God, and you can't put God language in a box and say, oh, that's he spoke this word right. This is a letter. No, God speaks through man to man. He speaks to man from behind creation. You see? And again, I'm going to show you this here because I quoted it earlier. I'm going to keep using that hammer of repetition. Okay. Let's see. There it is right there. Let me share it one more time. Okay, here it is right here. So here we go. Share it again, entire screen, right here. Surah 42, Ayat 51. I mean, it says, serves as the basis of understanding for revelation in Islam or Wahi. It is not fitting for a man that Allah should speak to him, except by inspiration, or from behind a veil, or by the sending of a messenger to reveal with Allah's permission what Allah wills. So this is the way that Allah speaks to man. He either speaks to you by inspiration of some situation, condition that you may have been in, came across, so to speak. It inspires you. You know, a light bulb come on in your head, so to speak. That's called wahi. It says, or from behind a veil. That means you don't even know that this is the Most High speaking to you. And whether or not, you better take heed, because it could be not only a person, it could be a particular situation or condition that you come up under. And the great God Allah is speaking to you. He's not verbally speaking like I'm speaking. So we see he speaks to you by inspiring you. Like you may not even be thinking, you might just be doing something and that thought come on you. You know, you better take heed to that thought, because that thought can make or mar you, whether you take heed of it or you chose to take heed of it, or by the sending of a messenger to reveal with Allah's permission what Allah wills. So when we remove all the spookism, we understand that Allah speaks to man through man. That's what this means, by the sending of a messenger. So if I say right now, you know, Allah spoke to me today through the voice of my scribes, that's not saying my scribes are Allah. That is saying that my scribes are vessels of Allah and vehicles of Allah. And I recognize that it was Allah speaking to me through them today. You understand? You see preachers say it all the time. God told me, God, they don't really know the science as we demonstrating it right now. But you know, they'll say that loosely. Like I say, I tell people all the time, when somebody say, well, I'm looking for a raise, you know, and they get it, they be like, praise be to God. But God didn't give you that raise on the plane of thing made manifest. It was a man that gave it to you. But in divinity, you see God was the cause and the source of it. You understand? So sometimes we can be so refined in our monotheism, the grand idea that precludes the monotheism, to where people actually think you talking about a man. You understand? And a lot of that has got many people took off the count too, you know, especially in the Islamic world, just by saying they the truth, you know. But it's a whole bunch of measures. So this is how Allah speaks to man, right here in the Grand Quran. So when you understand this, then you understand what I mean by read the book of creation. Within creation, you're going to be inspired by some things. Within creation, there are going to be messages that come from behind a veil. Within creation, as we live here, there are going to be men, women, and children that will come forth. Because some people think this means, you know, to messenger reveal as just somebody getting the book and being a prophet. But on a greater level, the sending of a messenger to reveal with Allah's permission what Allah wills, it can even be a bad situation that come through somebody else, but Allah was sending a message to you through that situation. We got to be able to see it on all different aspects. Yeah, it might have hurt. Yeah, it might have been a bad situation as it came, but Allah was still speaking to you. He wasn't the one creating the evil act, demonstrating a measure that made you feel uncomfortable, or wronged, taken advantage of, but he allowed a message to come through to you. Out of the worst, the wise is able to find means of good. So, you know, I just wanted to say that and really emphasize the fact when we talk about reading the book of creation or the book of the universe, what we mean. You know, so there are meanings. They tell you, study the creation, study those who came before you. This is a book. There are pages and chapters in this book of creation, in the book of the universe, Islam. So let me stop right here. You know, I just wanted to say that to make it plain, family. Islam. So that being said, our brother Marvin Edwards Bay is present. Do you have a measure as well to bring forth, grand man, in your assignment? Okay, our brother must be working. So what we'll do is open up the floor to our scribes as we get ready to close this demonstration out then. All right, Islam. Islam, brother.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I had to step out for a moment. Yeah, I don't have homework, but first of all, let me do my honors, praise and honors. I'm Dr. Marvin Edwards Bay out of the Texas territory, rising, giving all praise to the great God Allah, giving highest honors to his prophet, our prophet, Noble Drew Ali Al-Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali. Give honors to our theocratic government, our most American government. Give honors to our Act One. I give honors to all of our officials. I give honors to this class, our Egyptian ADEPTUS Research Sultanate class, as well as I give honors to you, Dr. Pseudo-HIEROGLYPHS, Al-Muhiti Sipsuel, our National Grand Sheikh, National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Morsi America. I give honors to the scribes and those in the audience, and everything that's Moorish. Part of the body, I just took of a concoction that, what's the brother name? Dr. Laila Africa inspired me to do. Anyway, yeah, I attempted to go through the homework. You know what I mean? Reflecting on Dr. Akurtha Bay, National Assistant Grand Secretary of the State, was speaking on. Yeah, it was pretty difficult for me. I mean, coming from where I'm coming from, to go through those handouts that you sent to us, and likened to our National Grand Secretary of the State say, well, we're exhuming, you know what I mean, which is inspirational. I mean, so you know, I appreciate, you know what I mean, what you're bringing on the manifest, because yeah, we are the ones that has to go through all of that has been put out there, all of the lies, you know what I mean, all of the misconceptions, you know what I mean, all of the devious things that took place, you know what I mean, keep us buried, you know what I mean. So we are that front line that's going delving into those misrepresentations and bringing the truth out, you know what I mean. Well, for me, like I said, coming from where I'm coming from, you know, I didn't go through the Christianity. I mean, I did as a child, you know what I mean. But then I went through the Nation of Islam, you know, dealing with the fruit of Islam, and so I kind of like took like a different route, so to speak. And so it left in me, which praise Allah for sending us a prophet, you know what I mean, and he came before for them, you know what I mean. But praise Allah for our most American government, you know, because this is where we can get the whole truth. You know what I mean? This is where we get that truth that uplifts fallen humanity. You know what I mean? And but you know, not to be confused or throw any confusion. A lot of things that I can say deal with. You know what I mean? At this time, a lot of things that it's kind of difficult for me to deal with. You know what I mean? So when I read stuff that has truth and falsehood, which we got to do, you know what I mean? I think about when it's stated that when the truth is confounded, it's not the truth anymore. You know what I mean? And so it kind of like throws a block for me to kind of go through that, you know, to sit through that. I'm saying, well, you know, I'm looking at my time because, you know, I'm working a lot at the time and I really didn't have the time, you know what I mean? But I started reading it and it's just so profound. It's so profound of how they just straight out lied. You know what I mean? Of course, they have to use some of the truth, you know what I mean, to make it seem palatable, so to speak. You know, but getting back to the lessons that we're bringing on, I just want to commend our National Assistant Grand Secretary of State, Dr. Dendra Neal Curtis, because her presentation was so profound. I mean, she went into it, you know, and coming from that Piscean era, she's like an expert to me, you know what I mean, on that, you know what I mean, how she can relate to the different passages in the Bible, you know, and I just want to commend her for her presentation, and Dr. Bay, you know what I mean, he was a very powerful message that he brought on, and how he can go into how, you know, and he just, and I'm gonna have to get that book that he mentioned about the early history of the Hebrews, because that has been a baffling situation for me to understand who was actually the Hebrews, you know, and as we go into it, you know what I mean, more is being revealed, you know what I mean, and then we can see how the Jews, so-called Jews, how they use different things to make themselves being, you know, ancient, as the guy that was speaking on earlier. And of course, our National Grand Secretary of the State, you know what I mean, the high priestess when it comes to these, you know what I mean, excavations, you know, of the truth, you know, and just being part of this movement, you know what I mean? Because the prophet brought us to me, but the prophets brought us everything. I mean, and his stated, he brought us everything to save us as a nation of people within his lessons. You know what I mean? Within the Holy Quran, within our divine constitution, our whole, you know, all of the lessons that he brought us can give us everything that we need. But like you were saying, you know what I mean? This is where we are. We have to go in to show our people, you know, because our people is buried, you know what I mean, in these deceptions, in these lies, you know what I mean, like call themselves Christians, you know what I mean, and you know, like that historical origin of the Christianity, you know what I mean, that blows that whole concept out. But you know, I mean, it will take time to bring this to our people, you know, and like he was talking about that veil, you know what I mean, I saw how that veil was inspirational to me. Just one other day I was talking to them more, you know what I mean, they don't know that they're Moors, you know, and they so caught up, they can only see like, well, what I couldn't see what y'all, you know what I mean, what did y'all bring forth, you know what I mean? So they caught up under that veil of trying to see what it's all about, when it's all has to be revealed, you know, through a spiritual revelations. You know what I mean? So that was beautiful there. You know what I mean? And that was, you know, like to me that, you know what I mean, there is no way they're gonna understand what I'm saying. You know, it has to be revealed to them through the great God Allah. You know, and so because it's like a veil, we could be looking at the same thing. You know what I mean? Plain as day, but that veil, you know what I mean, will keep them from seeing the truth. You know what I mean? And praise Allah for sending us a prophet that he is waking us up so that we can take this task, you know what I mean, this duty to uplift fallen humanity, you know, and we have to do this by uplifting ourselves first, you know, and this is what I like to say, you know what I mean? But yeah, this is a powerful lesson, a powerful assignment. And of course, I will be going back and revisiting this assignment and looking at this playback as well. And I just say I'm just grateful for being here, being part of this movement, and gratitude, God, man, for allowing me to speak Islam in peace.
And Islam and peace to you as well, good brother. You know, yeah, instead of trying to see, they need to be trying to be what it is. Islam, but yeah, grand man, we give honors to you for that draw, and praise be to Allah and Islamism without the schism and all that divine wisdom. So yeah, powerful measure. And at this time, we're gonna go forth down the line and come to our Grand National Secretary of State, in closing, and so that we can get a grand drawing. Islam, goddess and queen.
Islam, gratitude, having already risen, giving praise and honor where due. I again want to give much gratitude and honor for our E.A.R.S class, for Act 1, for our family online, also to the wisdom and the blessing brought forth from our scribes, and to you, Dr. Shahid. This has been a powerful assignment, constantly unfolding within the self. Much gratitude for also bringing forth how Allah speaks to man, because that was pulling off some veils for self as well when you were looking at or speaking in reference to inspiration, removing it from behind a veil, and also messengers and the different forms that messengers can come into. Also, give you much honor for breaking down in reference to each surah has a heart in it, which is like an inspiration for me to go into each chapter and find the heart of that a special surah. Just as in our Quran, we pick what is the essence or what is the lesson to be learned in reference to self, and being able to make it applicable to the self. And I just give honor for this class and our special journey, because we have such a wealth of source materials, not only on the manifest level, but also tapping into
Islam, our Grand National Secretary of State. I see her mic is still open, but I don't hear her. Uh-oh. Here go Rome playing them games again. Let's give our Grand Secretary of the State a chance to come back in, family. I don't know if she can hear me right now, because we see her mic is open, but we can't hear her. So I know it's got to be something going on. Let's see. Islam, Grand Secretary of the State, can you hear me? If you're speaking, we can't hear you. Oh, she just dropped out, so she'll be right back. Goodness gracious. Man, boy, I tell you. All I know is we done come a long way, scribes. And it ain't nobody out here that can tell us no anything. I can tell you that.
Islam, God, man, she said the internet went out. She's trying to get back in now.
Okay, yeah, we definitely wait on her. Yeah, because we want to hear them divine lessons from the blessing. Man, yeah, this is powerful. Like I said, we came a long way, scribes. And in regards to dealing with the languages and everything, and now we seeing our family speak with power, clarity, and authority. And this in and of itself is a whole nother measure, because we know the scribes are now ready to take these drawings out there. And even so far as going up into your own methodology, in the way you deliver what it is you deliver, like you did the research, like our family did that research. Let me see here. Our Grand Secretary of State just sent me a message, probably the same one she just had spoke to you. Oh, she's backstage. Let me see here. Yep, there she go. Islam, Grand Secretary of State. Goodness gracious.
Oh my goodness.
Roman wood.
I don't know where I left off, but I was just giving praise and honor for our class, this assignment, because we received so many blessings and unfoldments. Also for you bringing forth the demonstration in reference to the Surah 42:51, dealing with the inspiration or revelations we received from Allah, remove Allah speaking from behind the veil, and also the messengers, which it can come in many forms, even in reference to people, places, and things, where we have got to be able to read the signs and symbols. And dealing with the surah and being able to find the heart within each surah, as when we go through our Holy Quran of our Moorish Holy Quran, being able to find the special lesson dealing with self and make it applicable to the self. So the last part was dealing with the source materials. We have received a wealth of source materials, not only on a manifest level, but also coming from within ourselves, the Hierophant within ourselves, that tap us even more into our infinite source of being, the question and the answer. So gratitude, Dr. Shaheed, for bringing these degrees forth to our family online, all of our scribes online, and being able to recognize the importance of being a friend to mankind. Peace and love and gratitude.
And Islam, peace and love and gratitude. Islam, that's my attitude. But speaking of gratitude being the attitude, let me call for my Grand National Chairman, Dr. Acting Pert M. Heru Tutankhamun Bey. Islam, you there, Chairman? Islam.
Islam, can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you now. Islamism.
Islam, rise and give praises to Allah and honor to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. It's said much honor to Noble Drew Ali for being the last prophet in these days and time. And he was sent to bring us the everlasting gospel of Allah. And he did just that. And our topic, matter of truth, because that's what the prophet brought to us, to let us know that we are the message that he brought. We ain't nothing but the truth. That's who our forefathers were. That's who our God is. That's what our lesson's about. Everything is about the truth, Lord. It's just a mighty blessing. And I want to give much honor to all the angels on call, because there's a reason why you're here. Islamism without a schism.
Islamism without the schism. Yes, sir. We give honors to you, grand man. That's right. We give honors to the book of fire as well, burning up falsehood root and branch. Goodness gracious. Well, all right. Well, let us call forth the rest of our scribes as we close this demonstration out. Islam, Sister Curta Bay, Assistant Grand National Secretary of the State.
Islam. I tell you, I just thoroughly enjoyed this class and doing the research, and I got to go back and continue, because I read slow, and sometimes I have to read it over again, and so I'm going to continue to finish. I didn't get to finish reading all of it, but I'm going to continue to. I was over. I just got a little bit more to read, and just to familiarize myself what the attitude of the people are out there, and what we, I ain't gonna say me, I'm gonna say all of us, what we gonna have to come up against, and it's just I'm just so honored to be a part of this class and to get these teachings, and we give you much honors, Dr. Shaheed. I tell you, you've been so patient with me and all of us, and all of us. We are family here, but Bati Bey and our National Grand Secretary of State, Brother Edwards Bey, and we are still here. I think about how when we started out, we had so many, but this is what you have left, and we are family, and we depend on each other, and it's just an honor for me. And I want to say to our family who's out there listening, when I was in I come out of Christianity and went into Pan-Africanism. This man named Dr. Ray Higgins, some of you might have heard of him, might know of him or whatever, but I was under him, and I'm going to read something to you that really helped me when he was teaching me about when we was learning. I was learning about the Bible, and how everything was put together, and how Jesus was put together, and all of that stuff, and coming out of Dr. Walter Williams, his historical origin of Christianity. he used to tell us, he said, he want whenever, and I'm going to encourage y'all, whenever the E.A.R.S class come forth, whenever we come forth, I want y'all to do this your little thing here. I want you to put your pointer finger in your thumb, and I want you to make a circle. Anytime we come on, because we say some stuff today, you may not been familiar with it. But anyway, he used to tell us, he say, make a circle with your hand and repeat after me. He would say, the space inside this circle represents my realm of knowledge. All that I think I know about whatever I think I know is depicted right here inside this circle. He said, I must keep in mind that there is more to know than what is within the circumference of my awareness. And family, that really did help me, especially when I would hear something that I wasn't used to. I would have to put up my little circle because I was like, I wasn't used to, all of that, what I was hearing when I was in Pan-African, coming out of Christianity, going into Pan-Africanism, learning about the pyramids, learning about we were the first people who were here. I had to keep putting up my little circle. So I encourage you all, whenever we come forward, put your little circle up, because we might say some things that you ain't used to, but don't shut us down. Put it on the shelf. I was also taught, and I used to teach our people, if we say something, don't say that it ain't true and have a closed mind to it. Put it on the shelf, and the great God of love bring it back to you when the time is right. So I just encourage our Moorish kin to keep coming. We're going to give you the truth. The truth is here. So just keep coming, keep tuning in. We love you. Gratitude for letting me share. Peace and love.
And we love you, and gratitude for sharing, Goddess and Queen. Praise be to Allah. Well, all right. Islamism without the schism. Next scribe.
Islam. Praise and honors are previously given, but always needed. When we're looking at the plight of this class, man, this is our segue. This is like our own, when we're talking about what they call the Del Hikmah, which is the house of wisdom that they had in Africa, or you talking about your higher schools, we have that right here and open to the public. And we are teaching and learning, you know what I'm saying? Because the things that we do, I swear this is the most I've learned outside of school. I mean, when I'm dealing with even being in school, this is the most I learned, the most eager I've ever been with learning, because it's about us. You know what I'm saying? It's about who we are. It's not about what somebody's depiction of us. We're not living in the confines of the mind of oppression. We're living and breathing as we are through, our forefathers and mothers. As the chairman was speaking on, we are, we really are what we asked for. You know what I'm saying? And just being here and be able to, show that, research is not hard. And I think that if the majority of the world would do the research, that there would be a lot more, there'd be a lot more scholars, a lot more added on to us, you know what I'm saying? Because all it takes is a little bit of effort. It don't take much. It just takes, sitting here and you're going to find, what I'm saying, everything that shows the greatness of where you came from and where you can the possibilities of where you are able to go to and travel to. So, just give honors to all the Moors that are here in attendance, all the ones on our panel, and all the ones in the comments. Islam, peace and love.
And Islam and peace and love to you as well, grand man. For that drawing, you couldn't have spoke better. Islam isn't without the schism. Well, all right. Islam. Brother Marvin Nathaniel was baby. You got something you want to bring forth, grand man, in close?
Islam, yes, sir, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just so grateful for being here. Yes, Dr. Edwards Bay out of Texas. Man, it's just such a blessing to be in this Moorish American government. You know what I mean? This is the only reality. Everything else is an illusion. But we know that Allah is leading on and victory is assured. And so it is Allah who will wake our people up. You know what I mean? Because like the prophet said, he wasn't going to wake us all up at the same time. We tear something up. You know what I mean? But we building. You know what I mean? We building this new nation, this new reality. You know what I mean? Because the world is in need of this truth. Gratitude, God, man, for all you do. Peace and love.
And gratitude for all you do and all you've done as well, scribe. I want to give honors to all of you for the work that you put in, because we know we can guide the nation now. We working on making this Egyptian ADEPTUS research sultanate session, a physical reality. We got some grand drawings. We gonna build us some pyramids throughout the United States. You know what I mean? We got some plans we gonna put out here. We gonna get some land. We gonna make these Egyptian ADEPTUS research sultanate drawings become a grand reality. Artifacts, history, everything. Goodness gracious. Praise be to Allah. All right. Well, that being said, Sister Curta Bay, you got it. Take us into the heights.
Islam, family. January 15, 1929, a warning from the prophet to be read at every meeting. I hereby inform all citizens that they must end all radical, agitating speeches while at work, in their homes or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at your opinions. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any citizen or group of citizens who hold malicious feelings toward the government or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the government is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the government. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways by the order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. A holy covenant of the Asiatic nations, ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother have given you suck. Let the bonds of affection, therefore, unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortune of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Islam, Islam, Islam. This meeting is officially adjourned according to Act 2, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Go in peace, Moors. Islam. Great class. Grand class.
Great class. Great class. Gratitude.
Islam.
Love you more.
Great class. Gratitude.
Gratitude, peace and love.
Islam. Peace and love, scribes. Islam isn't without the schism.
Islam.
Praise
Praise
the
be
Lord.
to Allah.
Praise the Lord.
See you in
Islam.
Sunday school.
That's right. From which the guide and the guiders of the nation arrive.
Islam.
Yes,
Peace and love.
Peace
and
and love.
Peace and love.
Islam. Peace and love. We want to give honors to our family out there too. Tyrese Bay, creator of the Boundless Universe, Sasha Bay, A.T. Sankofa, we give honors to you as well, family. Born Dog, honors to your family. We got Brother Bati Bay. Yeah, all of our family out there that checked in, we love you and keep checking in. Peace and love. See you in the next session. Islam.